Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go over this one article first, and then we'll move into the economic calendar, then we'll move on to the technical analysis. Before we get started, does anyone have any questions? You guys doing good for the week so far?
No, not well. No, I haven't. I didn't make the a reentry yesterday, but that was about it.
Okay. Are you still up for the month though?
Yes.
All right, perfect.
But I need a good parabolic move. How about that?
Yeah, makes sense. Let's see if we can get that today with CPI. All right, so
I am I am curious to think. Yeah, I'm curious to see or to hear what you think about whether everyone just made the move early, or if you think there's just more to come.
if we're going to what? Sorry.
I am curious to see if you think there's more in the tank on the sell-off, or if you think everyone just jumped the gun early yesterday.
Okay. Yeah, let's look at the technical side for that. But I do think that right now it's all like, sentimental trading more than looking at the fundamentals and everything like that. And it's all leading up to the interest rates.
Yeah.
Alright, so if you're trading like any euro pairs or any pound pairs, then this is something that I want to go over real quick. So again, this is all sentimental. This is all, planning to do. Look at some of the keywords. This is not something that they're doing right now. But we did look at the news that Boris Johnson was preparing to make some last minute tweaks to the legislation, and that he said that he was planning on overriding a portion of the Brexit deal that has to do with Northern Ireland. Before we got that news, we already had another article come out that we looked at a couple of weeks ago where EU said if the UK moves forward with this legislation to enact, then the EU is going to take any measures necessary against the UK. And so when the statements came out, now we're starting to see that the European Union is really preparing to relaunch any legal proceedings as part of the bloc's, which is the EU's response to the move of UK making any last minute tweaks to the planned legislation to override a portion of its Brexit deal. So all of this is again sentiment right now because this is what they're planning on doing, but we don't have any definite actions being taken right now, right? Both sides are kind of planning, kind of moving towards one legislation that's going to be overriding parts of the Brexit deal, but no steps have been taken. Like, what I mean by that is that the UK hasn't, enacted on that legislation, and the EU hasn't started the legal proceedings or anything like that. This is what they're planning on doing. So now this is pretty much what they're doing, is trying to settle in this sort of uncertainty, this sort of fear in the markets, and we are going to see how on the technical side, if you're looking at any euro pair or any pound pair, how this is starting to get priced in already, and especially as we're sitting at some of the key areas. So as we continue down, some of the key dates or days to kind of watch out for is Boris Johnson plans to press ahead with the legislation on Monday. So look forward to Monday. There's a very high chance that CPI comes out right now, today, in like about an hour or so, that something like GBP JPY or Euro JPY may not move significantly, right? Because CPI is mainly for the dollar. So if you're trading like US 30, if you're trading gold, if you're trading, anything that has to do with the dollar, then you'll probably see a lot more movement there. But if you're trying to catch a pound or like a euro move simply based off of fundamentals, then Mondays is what you really want to look forward to. And then the hope here is that the bill is going to pass through the UK's lower house of Commons before Parliament breaks out at the end of July. So again, all of this is leading up to a specific date, all the sentiment and everything like that, and looking to see what are they going to end up saying on Monday, and what's going to end up happening by the end of July. So like by next month. So if you continue down, you'll see like some more details about what's pretty much going on and whatnot. But that's pretty much what the summary is. So just remember, right now it's still all market sentiment trading, not necessarily fundamental. Looking at the economic calendar side, so we started off quite easy. We had a couple of bank holidays and London session here too. And then going into Tuesday, so this week has been quite easy when it comes to economic data, right? We didn't get too much of high impact. We saw a little bit of volume kicking in when Yellen was speaking on Tuesday. And then as you continue down on Wednesday, again, not much happened. Yesterday was the interest rates coming out from the euro, which they maintained it at 0%. We already had that sentiment. There was an ECB press conference giving us an outlook of what they're expecting to see. And then we had Bank of Canada's governor speaking. And then in Asian session, we had some PPI data coming out from Japan. So again, all of it simply market sentiment trading. That's all it is, because we've had interest rate news come out. We didn't see the market react too heavily to it right when it came out, but towards the middle of New York session, we start to see the volume kind of pick up a little bit. And then today we have CPI data coming out. Next week we have interest rates coming out for the US. And so this data point is going to be very, very important. And then also we had NFP coming out, earlier this month. So there's a lot of data points that are being taken into consideration when we're talking about, can we continue to increase interest rates? When NFP came out, earlier this month, we saw that we were expecting a huge drop, but it didn't really end up happening. Instead, we got a number that was a little bit closer to the previous. So that tells you that, yes, the labor market's tight a little bit. It is starting to slow down a little bit, but it's not in that major corrective state yet, where we would have to worry about the labor market, where we would have to worry about unemployment claims rising again. But it is starting to slow down, and obviously that is being taken into consideration. So what we are expecting to see here is inflation increasing, so CPI increasing from 0.3% to 0.7%. This is including food and energy. So we have seen for the most part that inflation is coming from those two parts, specifically food and energy. Those are the ones that are kind of skewing the data. But soon, and then you also have the consumer sentiment and the inflation expectations. But another one to kind of pay attention to is going to be PCE. That came out as well, where PCE is for goods and services that are consumed quarterly by the consumers. That's not including food and energy. And when you're looking at those data points, the inflation is kind of remaining the same. We're not seeing a huge hike or a huge decrease. Any questions on the economic calendar before we move on to the technical side? Alrighty. Let's start off here on the monthly time frame for GJ. What's up, Eddie? Which pair are you talking about? Break and retest for which pair? So looking at the monthly time frame here as well, we're going to look at those rejections that happened recently in the last couple of months. Look to the left, and we've seen price reject off these areas and hold on to it as support. So what we want to see is, can price continue breaking above 168,400 and push bullish from there, and then we can start to target some of these minor areas. But in order for us to even target those, we would first need to break above 168,400. Right now, all we're doing is kind of rejecting into these areas. So that's why I'm not going to mark any other higher resistance until we finally break out of this and then continue pushing. And then another level I'm going to mark off is going to be what was support right here for this monthly break and retest. Look to the left, that's a resistance right there, and then look further to the left, same thing, we've seen rejections off of this area. And you can adjust these levels as you drop down to lower time frames to tighten up the zones. When you come onto the weekly, so same thing here, we have seen how price rejects into this area. Last couple of weeks as well, we rejected before this retracement happened, where we came back and respected this broken consolidation resistance as support prior to pushing back up bullish, which is your 158,500 area. Then we come back into that area again, we're rejecting it, and we're pushing back down. If I'm going to be looking for any short-term sell opportunities, I'm pretty much targeting this little area right here first for any short-term sell opportunity. So that means like, today's session, if there's going to be any sell opportunities, and coming down into this zone and see if we can hold on to a support here on lower time frames, maybe the daily time frame, 4-hour time frames, before pushing back up, let's say on Sunday. But if price just pushes back below the zone, then we know that there's nothing stopping us from coming all the way down to 161,800. So when you go on to the daily time frame, it's a clean reject into this area. You're breaking the previous daily lows, so we know that we're headed back down bearish, that's for sure. And can we potentially mimic a move like this where we come back and maybe hold on to 161,800 going into next week as a support, and then a push back up from there? So as you can see, last week we've been insanely bullish, right? Even going into this week, we've been insanely bullish, and now finally in the yesterday was when we created resistance, and then today we're starting to push and break the daily lows and continue pushing down. So this is our first target. And then if we break below this, then we can continue down and target 161,800. When you come onto the 4-hour, so now you're starting to see that structure change starting to happen. So you've had, again, a nice bullish structure to the upside, and then price gives you those lower highs. We're starting to break the lows here, and now we want to see, can we continue pushing down? So going into CPI in like the next almost 40 minutes or so, what we want to see is, can price continue breaking below this area and maintain that volume to the downside, or in the next 8 minutes when the New York session opens up, and that's pretty much when you're going to start seeing the market price in, the previous versus forecast and all of that, and that sentiment trading leading to an economic data release. Are we going to push back up into this area and kind of just linger around here until, let's say, New York Stock Exchange, which is usually when we get a little bit of more volume, inflation expectations, consumer sentiment, a couple of more of those things coming out before we end out for the week, and then next week we see that drop continuing. So in order for us to continue pushing, we need to see that volume, the bearish volume here. Drop down to the hourly, you got your little break and retest going on here, but then we also start to see the volume slowing down a little bit. So what we want to see here particularly is price breaking below this, and you've got your sell opportunity where for about 50 to 60 pips. This is the only way that I'm looking for any sell opportunities. If we push back up and kind of just hang around here, I'm not really looking to do anything with GJ. I'd rather just wait for next week. Any questions on GJ?
No thanks.
No.
Alright, awesome. Now let's go ahead and move on to gold. So same thing, let's start off with the monthly time frame.
BJ, a quick one.
Yeah.
Sorry. Jump back on GJ.
Yep.
I will jump on the 1 hour. Yes. So, would you have considered that as a break and retest on the hourly?
This one, yes.
Yes. Current, yes. So that would have been an ideal entry.
Yeah, so I would, if I was awake at that time, trading at that time, then I would take that trade coming down. I would be targeting somewhere around here as like,
Okay.
Either my full TP or, taking partials along the way, and then letting everything else run coming all the way down. The way that price is setting up right now, this is when you drop down to the 30-minute and take a look at what's happening. So we're getting clear signs of exhaustion. You're kind of breaking the highs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that there's no more fuel in the tank for sales, but I'm just saying that we need to grab some more orders before pushing back down. So when I see this happening and price breaking the previous high, then this is when I start to take some partials. So, wherever your entry may be, when you're here on the hourly time frame, let's say your entry was like, dead center here, where there was a break and retest, price pushed down, so 31 pips, anywhere from 10 to 31 pips, you still have a pretty good scalp.
Okay. So the limitation of your trade here would be you will be looking for a scalp and not trying to extend it to a 1 to 3, 1 to 4, something like that.
Right. It's just a scalp.
Okay. So thank you.
Yep, for sure. So anything that we're taking today is just a scalp because it's Friday. Right, we're almost done for the week, and then unless you're like 50, 60, 70 pips into profit, and you're making enough profit that would cover your swap fees and your commission fees and everything like that, then go for it. But
Okay.
mostly on Fridays. If you're only looking for 10, 15, 20, 30 pips, then just take that scalp and then come back next week.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So the first level that I'm going to mark off here on the monthly time frame is right about here. The reason why is because you've got that resistance right here back in like 2011. We held on to that resistance. We never really came back down to or came back up to retest it until 2020, and then for almost half a year in 2021 we held on to that as a consolidation resistance. Finally broke above it earlier this year with Russia, Ukraine, and now we're coming back and revisiting into these areas. So last month as well we rejected that area, made a bottom wick and pushed right back up. This month we're kind of tapping into it. So we're about 10 days into the month so far. We still have some time. What we want to see is, can price continue breaking below, let's say, this 1830 area flat and continue pushing back down bearish. If that happens, then we know that we can come back and look for a potential trade to come back down into these support areas of 1755. And then if that breaks below, then we'll target 1680 and all that. But right now, this is kind of the range that we're looking at for any sell opportunities. For any buys, clearly we would need this monthly candle to flip back up bullish. But 1900 is going to be the target area for any buy opportunities. And I'm talking about like potential swing trade opportunities, right? You're on the monthly time frame. These are swing to position trade opportunities that'll take a couple of days to weeks to even a couple of months to kind of play out. Drop down to the weekly time frame. This is where we start to narrow in and look at what's pretty much going on here. So we've had a nice bearish trend for 2020, and then in 2021 we kind of try to break out of it, and then the half of the year we just consolidated until 2022 we broke out, finally again coming back and consolidating into some of these areas, grabbing liquidity, all of that. And then how do you know that's liquidity? Because look at the massive volume that tends to follow after tapping into these zones, right? And then after that massive sell-off, we got a little bit of a corrective move here, coming back into around 1850, 1860 area, reject this, and now we're starting to push down, come back and fill this previous weekly wick low, right? And if we continue breaking below 1830, then there's really nothing stopping us from coming back down into these support areas, 1810, 1800, and then ultimately 1755. So right now, if we're looking for any sell opportunities, it is a little bit of a tight zone. Excuse me. It is a little bit of a tight zone, right into this area, because there's a very high chance that we could just bounce off of this and then continue kind of consolidating here until we get the volume, the fundamentals, economic data, and all of that to continue pushing in one direction or another. And tapping into this area and bouncing off of it is not anything new. When you look to the left here, we have seen price kind of tap into this, reject this, and kind of close into these areas and bounce off of these areas in the past. So it's nothing new. So that's what we need to be careful of. Once price breaks below 1830, and then we can look for those sell opportunities, or if it just bounces off of this and holds on to a clear support here, and then we can look for buy opportunities. Excuse me. And then let's go on to the daily time frame. So, and this is pretty much what I'm talking about, where even on the daily time frame, price has tapped into this and kind of just bounced off of it, and it's not anything new here at all. So this is what I'm watching out for, to see if we're just going to end up becoming a wick, and then price pushes back up and we just end up consolidating here until we get some good volume to continue pushing back up to 1900, or are we actually going to break below this area, look for a retest, and then look for those sells, at first targeting this 1800 and then that 1755. Drop down to the 4-hour time frame. So if you're looking for a sell opportunity, let's say in London or anything like that, and you're looking for a quick scalp, then that's your perfect entry right here on the 4-hour, where you got the break and retest. This is where you narrow in your zones even more, right? So this is, for example, going to be your zone of consolidation, all of this, and then you look for those quick scalp opportunities, pretty much mirroring what has happened here in the past. So that's your entry point right there, and as price continues pushing down, target from anywhere, let's say 60 pips to coming down to about 114 pips, anything like that. Right now, the 4-hour, yes, is showing us good volume, but what I need to see here is, again, some sort of clear resistance support being formed before we continue pushing down. So here, the New York session just opened up. What I need to see happening is the lows here being broken as it's trying to, and then price pushing down from there. That's a scalp opportunity that we can take, right? When you go onto the 30-minute time frame, that's a massive sell-off that happened. So now as the low is being broken, that's a sell opportunity that we can take. Drop down to the 15-minute. There you go. That's your sell opportunity that you can take right now as we're talking. But manage your risk as you're taking this. What I'm interested in is US 30, so we'll go over that next. Any questions on gold? Does that answer your question, Eddie? All right, let's go over US 30. So the reason why I'm not taking gold is because I'm still in the US 30, and that's pretty much what I'm looking at the moment. So that gold trade is happening right now if anyone is interested in taking that. But manage your risk. All right, so US 30, we're sitting at those all-time highs, as you guys can see. So I'm going to mark off this 33,800 area, which is that monthly support. 2 months ago, we broke below this, and then last month we closed like a doji here, which tells me that, we had a significant sell-off that happened, and then we pushed right back up. And we'll see as we drop down to lower time frames how price has been respecting some of these wick rejections here. You'll see the candle closes there, so it has been respecting the support areas as resistance. And this month we made that top wick, and we're flipping back down to continue back down bearish. The next area that I'm going to mark off is going to be right here. So this minor break and retest resistance, but the level that we came pretty close to reject. So 3,400. There we go. And then go on to the weekly, and we can adjust the levels here as well. But this is pretty much what I'm talking about. So right into this area, excuse me. So right into this area where we have seen price hold on to this area as support in the past. It was a quick fake out, price push right back up. We came back, and then again a quick fake out, push right back up. Grab that liquidity. How do you know it's liquidity? Because look at the volume that follows, right? And then we just broke through the support, came back down, and held onto a support area here. So we will be adjusting this 3,400 area up top here to show the most recent support. And then we came back up, and we respected the area which was one support in the past as resistance. This week we made a top wick rejection, flipped back down bearish, and now we broke the previous weekly low. There's really nothing stopping us from coming all the way down to this 31,000 area flat. So this is what we're targeting first. If price is going to continue breaking below this area, then we can come back and target some of these support areas here, which is going to be your 3,400 area or 30,000 area. Then again, wait for some corrective moves. Ideally, we want to come back and respect this area as a resistance, and then continue pushing down from there, so we can continue making these lower highs and lower lows. Make sense?
Yep.
Perfect. So let's adjust this area as that support right there. So this is your 31,300. Drop down to the daily. So on the daily, what we have is this consolidation that was forming for a couple of days. Finally yesterday we made that top wick, flipped back down bearish, and continued breaking the lows. So now we have that sell confirmation that we're looking for. So this is your 32,800 area. So we have the sell confirmations that we're looking for, even on the daily time frame. There's nothing stopping us when you look to the left from coming all the way down to this 31,300, 31,200 area. So we're looking for a continued sells. But yesterday, when you're looking at the daily candle, you can tell that there was already a lot of volume. So we need to see some clear support. We need to see some clear lower highs and lower lows being formed on the lower time frames in order to look for continued sells. So yesterday we had massive sell-offs when you come onto the 4-hour time frame. You see how much of volume that we had, and then after that, the volume started to die down a little bit. When you look to the left, same thing, narrow in your zones a little bit more. Take a look at what's pretty much happening at these levels. So we are starting to see how price has, on minor or lower time frames, has reacted to this area. So what we need to see happening is some form of retracement or some form of consolidation forming here, and then a continued sell-off. So essentially our trade is going to happen below this zone right here as price clears below these minor areas that it has been holding on to as support on the 4-hour time frame, and then when you drop down to the hourly, you'll see the same exact thing. So that's pretty much what we're looking for when it comes to sell opportunities. If price just ends up ranging in this little area, then that's not something that I'm interested in. I'd rather just wait for price to break out in one direction or another. So when you go into the hourly time frame, this was pretty much most of the Asian session, where we just end up consolidating. And then in London Open is when we saw this drop happening, and then again in London we just end up consolidating. Right now in New York, as the New York session opened up, we're starting to see a little bit of push up, but same thing, are we going to end up consolidating here? So anything in between here, this is a no trade range. I want to see price either break above this and continue pushing back up bullish, or for any buy opportunities, or wait for price to again consolidate and then give us another breakdown, and then we can look for a continued sell. So that breakdown is most likely going to happen when CPI comes out, or right when New York Stock Exchange opens up. So anywhere between the next 30 minutes to about an hour, and then you'll see the market die down a little bit for about an hour or two, and then pick right back up around 9-10 a.m. PST. Any questions about any of the three pairs that we went over?
No, thank you.
Alright, coming on to gold. So if you're looking for those quick scalps, that's pretty much what this was. And you could probably see continued volume. But just be sure that we have seen price react off of 1830 before. So as price gets closer to it, that's where you want to start managing your risk. And what I mean by that is taking partials, securing, taking full TP if you're only looking for a couple of 10-15 pip scalp, if that's something that you do. That's about it. Oh, we also had Euro USD for Chris. Are you still looking at Euro USD, Chris, or are you looking at Euro JPY?
Hey, sorry, I was downstairs. Did you have something, VJ?
Yeah, are you still looking at Euro USD, or are you trading Euro JPY now?
A bit flexible, to be fair. I was having a look at Euro pairs yesterday because of the interest rate.
Uh-huh.
EJ just looked a little bit cleaner at the time I was looking at it. But I had a look at Euro USD last night, and it's at that sort of level, that bottom level when we had that call we were talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, just gonna have a look.
All right. So do you want to go over Euro USD, or you're good?
Yeah, we can do. Yeah, sure thing.
Okay. All right, let's start off with the monthly. All right, we got these support areas being formed right here, since 2015. So 1.053 area, and then narrow that in a bit more right here. 1.09. So that 1.09 is coming from these wick rejections, supports. You got a nice break and retest before that massive volume candle right there, and then after that we kind of just held on to it as resistance here again until we finally broke above, and then we held on to it as support. So if we're going to reject into this 1.053 area, as we have a couple of times at these levels, I want to see if we're going to continue pushing back up to 1.09. This is that all-time low that we haven't really broken in the last couple of years. unless we're coming all the way down here. But for that to happen, you need extremely negative fundamentals when it comes to the euro. So right now, this is kind of the range that we're looking at. Price just bouncing off of this, and then you can look for those potential buy opportunities right there. So price bounces off of this, and then you can look for those potential buy opportunities. But as of right now, clearly the monthly candle is bearish, so we kind of just look for some clear resistance being formed and then sell opportunities from there. When you come onto the weekly time frame, same thing. We've seen a lot of rejections right into this area, supports being formed, and then same thing here. You had a fake out, and then we failed to continue bearish from there. We pushed right back up, and we held onto a resistance. You could mark off that level here as well, and then kind of just look to the left of what's happened. So same thing, consolidation right in between, and then we've seen a little break and retest before coming down into this area and then bouncing off of it again. So that's pretty much what our range is at the moment. If price can break above, let's say this 1.07 area or 73 area, then we can look for those continued buy opportunities. If we're just ranging here, then this is what your trading range would be. So that means, scalps or even day trade opportunities, but that's about it. When you come onto the daily time frame, quite similar to what's happened on US 30, right, where you had consolidation being formed on the daily time frame. We finally broke below it, made a top wick today, and then we're pushing back down bearish. So what I want to see is clear break and retest being formed here on the 4 hour or on the hourly, and then a sell off from there. So on the 4 hour, we had a nice retracement, reject right into that area, which was previously support, but now resistance. And now we're breaking the lows and we're pushing back down. So when you drop down to the hourly, you've had a nice sell-off. You wait for a support to be formed, some sort of retracement, let's say back into 1.059 or 1.06 area, and then a continued sell-off from there. And that's your sell opportunity to come back down into this 1.053 area. The only way, with CPI coming out in the next 17 minutes, the only way that I see a continued sell is if, let's say, let's continue down here. So let's say if we came back to like 0.3 or 0.4, and then we could see that continued sell from there. That would bring in a little bit of more optimism when it comes to the dollar, that yes, inflation is increasing when you're sitting at 0.3 or 0.4, but it's not increasing as fast as we're expecting with a 0.7% increase. Does that make sense?
Yes, thanks very much.
All right. Then drop down to the 30-minute. So you're getting those small retracements here, but just wait for a proper retracement. On the 30-minute time frame, another break and retest, and then that's your sell coming down. All right. So there's that 15-minute still pushing. Did anyone take this gold trade?
I was looking at it, but I stayed away. I just thought I'd wait for CPI at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Not doing anything until CPI comes out.
All right, perfect. So for another 16 minutes or so.
I think gold's at that key level, that 1830 area, so I just thought wait at least 15 minutes after CPI or 5 minutes or something.
Best to be patient, yeah.
If I was at the charts about an hour ago, I would have took that up near 1840. As soon as we broke past 1840, that would have been a nice entry.
Yeah, right here. That
Yeah, just there, perfect. Yeah, would have been able to secure some and just let the rest go. Yeah, that bit of market close US 30 sell-off was crazy yesterday.
Yeah.
I was actually, like I said, I was telling you, I was back testing, just keeping an eye on US 30. So I had a price alert at 32,700 sort of mark, because we broke below, I think, before you took an entry, probably about an hour or two before, but we were just wicking around up and down.
Right.
And then after it sold off, it just sold off crazy.
Yeah, I had just created an alert. And then once the alert hit, I went back and I was looking at it, and I was like, all right, this seems like a good entry.
Yeah. I knew you were waiting for that 4 hour break and retest. I could literally just envision what you were looking at.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Yeah, it was like around 9:30 or 10 a.m. my time,
Mm-hmm.
which was like mid Asian or mid New York session.
New York, yeah.
So you got the 4 hour break and retest here. So 10 a.m. candle right here, and then price is pushing down. So that was the 32,855 area. 855.
Have you still got the same positions open, or have you secured a bit more?
I've secured a bit more, but you know those positions are still open.
Nice.
And this was the 33,000 flat. And then TP is pretty much open, but I'm targeting based off the daily time frame.
Chris, are you finding the 5 minutes? I've been seeing you've been playing the 5 minutes time frame.
5 minute time frame. Oh, sorry. Are you talking to Chris or me?
Yeah,
Chris.
Oh, okay.
I literally used it just yesterday when the interest rates came out for the euro, and that was it, to be honest with you. Otherwise, I don't really use the 5 minute, but yeah, it made sense yesterday with the high
Yeah, I
impact.
saw the screenshot and said, Chris has decided to change some things up.
It was only because it was interest rate. Otherwise, normally I'd wait using 15-minute candle closes or 30-minute candle closes.
For me, I think I've switched things up a bit, so I'm now more so focused on the 1 hour because recently I've gotten so busy. So what I'm now focusing more on, or rather trying to beat, is I'm not used to large stop losses. So with the way we trade, we usually have stop losses probably less than 20, 50 pips. But now I'm finding that I have to use a stop loss of 40 pips, and wolf. Basically just have to get used to it.
Yeah, I mean the risk to reward is obviously where you'll make that sort of profit.
Yeah. I'll probably have to backtest it more.
Just the risk to reward and also scaling in.
Yeah, that's another thing I was just about to say. Yeah, and looking for them scaling opportunities as well.
Scaling in, like, hands down, has been one of the things that has helped grow my account, even when I was starting off, or even right now. Regardless of like what account size, you can legit like have a 5 cent scale in. It's just like it's an additional trade that's running, and if you can make that risk free too, then you don't really have anything to worry about.
Exactly. And you get to make the most of like the movements in the markets as well, sort of thing. That's what I realized. I realized I was holding on to too little of a runner sometimes, securing too much and not taking that scaling. But then I would have thought back like, I should have took another entry here. Now that's where I'm trying to work on that.
Yeah, like even yesterday's, I did like a double entry on that US 30. So the first one was that 855, and then I had another one, or I have another one that's still running, which is at 32. 845. 52. So pretty much very close to the previous entry, but taking those two entries and splitting the risk between the two. Alright, we have 10 minutes and then we're going to have CPI coming out. This is market sentiment trading at its finest. This is pretty much people who trade, economic data. So they're trading this forecast. So obviously if inflation increases for the dollar, it's not a good thing, and that's when you're going to see gold pushing up bullish and then the dollar getting a little bit weaker. But if it comes anywhere between 0.3 and 0.4, that's going to bring in a little bit of more optimism for the dollar for short term. So 15-20 minutes, and then you'll see price kind of correcting itself for the higher time frames.
BJ, just a question.
Yep.
Previous CPI, we were forecasted 0.2% on the one previously to that was 1.2%. Is there a reason why there was such a big drop?
Right here?
Just a second. Yeah. So you see May where the actual came out 0.3, but the previous was 1.2.
Yeah. And then the one
Percent
before that,
drop.
yeah, that's when we had major inflation, right? We didn't start taking contractionary policies and all that. Right now, we're just talking about like increasing interest rates and stuff, which we did, right? But we didn't talk about doing them at a faster pace.
Got it.
Alright, top wick rejection here on the 15 and flip back. So once you break that 15-minute low right here, again, there's really nothing stopping us from coming all the way down to 1830. I would still secure something here though, because it's 8 minutes before the news comes out, so if you're part of the trade, secure something.
Party starts in 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm. For GJ, I would probably just stay out of it today. Because this entire thing for me would be like a no trade range. US 30 is holding on to a support though, so I want to see if we can continue pushing back up here. This would be the no trade range because of the consolidation. But if we end up breaking above this, then we can look for those buy opportunities to end off the week.
Yeah, if that breaks above, that's gonna walk back almost the entire weekly candle in one session.
Yep, the daily the daily too. It's gonna be a corrective move, and then also the weekly.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you go, it just puts it in a precarious situation. It pushes all the way back up to 32,800 today to close the session. Now it leaves next week back into this really gnarly area.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be a massive tail.
Yep.
But nothing materially has changed in the market. As far as the fundamentals are concerned, like nothing materially has changed to justify that.
Right.
So that's going to have to be some big players just shoving sellers out of the way.
Yeah, pushing right back into this area to prepare for next week. What we know for sure is that they're going to increase the interest rates, right? And that
Right.
We already know what the correlation is when you look at the stock market and increased interest rates. So that is still going to be a continued sell-off. It's just that now you have better sell-offs from this top area here again, pretty much catching the same entry again.
Well, it just makes today a really big day if the bulls come up, and it makes it a terrible day for trying to short and the bulls wash you out.
Yep.
The 600-point moves on the US 30 is significant.
The fun part is, though, that we can be part of both the bullish push or the bearish push.
Right. Yeah.
if we do push back up, VJ, would you say that we're sort of generating some sort of liquidity for the inevitable push down with the rate hikes next week?
Yeah, because when you look at the higher time frames, there's nothing telling us that we're continuing back up bullish, or that there's going to be a bullish run, right? But what kind of, gives me this, so to say, like a confidence of can we look for continued sells, is the way that we just made a bottom wick rejection into this zone that we've already kind of broken down, but we're bullish at the moment. So I'm not saying that there's a buy right now. I'm just saying that if price is to actually grab that liquidity as it would right now and then continue pushing back up, then we have buys up top here, not even somewhere down here.
Yeah, there's going to have to be consensus that 32,300 is a good buy point, because right now it's been rejected for hours.
Right.
I know it's low volume, but I'm just saying, that their printed candles, people are going to have to look past that, or just stay willing to go well beyond that to try to recover.
Yep. Even waiting for trades can be difficult, but it's worth it so you don't get knocked around in something like this.
100%.
Alright, if you haven't managed your trade already, you should be doing that, as the news is about to come out in about 2 minutes. So how long should one demo trade before you jump into a real account? I would say until you have felt comfortable in your skill sets. I wouldn't say the monetary aspect, if you can flip your account to this or that or whatever, but until you can feel comfortable and, things like identifying no trade days, right? Or sticking to your trading plan. That's something that a lot of people continue to have trouble with over the years. So you could be great at flipping your account, once or twice, but if you don't have the discipline to stick to your trading plan, if you can't identify no trade days, if you have trouble with forcing trades, so don't force trades, but if that's something that you keep doing over and over again and keep catching yourself doing that, then I said for that long, go back to demo trading, paper trading, all of that, until you're able to be comfortable with those concepts, and then go into your live trade. I think those skill sets are more important than the monetary aspect of it, because if you can't do that successfully, then you can, from a monetary perspective, you could be successful. The reason why I don't trade live every day is because, Stefanos and I try to trade live, so we try to schedule those live sessions, the Wednesday ones, around our schedule, but my schedule currently does not allow for trading every day, trading live every day. Alright, we got a couple of seconds here. Alright, if you're looking for a scalp on GJ, very first disclaimer that I would personally kind of stay out of this until going into next week. But if you're truly just looking for those 10-15 pips or something like that.
Oh, jeez.
What's up?
Oh.
US 30?
Oh my god.
Alright. Wait for a pullback here a little bit.
Oh, I'm not chasing that. Holy cow.
That's perfect. Wait for a wick though. Wait for a price to pull back. Give it drop down to the 5 minute, 1 minute. How we did. I think it was NFP, right? That we did it like that.
Man, that's a 100-point 1 minute candle. Well, less than a minute. It did it in 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Just wait for it though.
I marked out 32,265 VJ, because on the lower time frame, look at the 15 and the 30.
Yeah.
32,265 was getting resistance.
Mm-hmm.
it's not super clear. If you go left to if you go like to during London or pre-London, like right there. But that's also where it's already forced. It's formed that little mini support at the bottom, right? Two candles to your right or 3 candles to your right.
Yeah.
That's in that zone. So it's like if it stays in that zone, it doesn't come back, then
No, it's fine. You drop down to the 5 minute, or if you're looking at the 1 minute, because CPI does have a lot of impact. Wait for a clear, like a resistance here, and then a push back down.
Yeah, the thing about the way this trades is I don't know if it's going to come. Sometimes it just doesn't come back all the way.
No, it's not going to come all the way back here. Just
no,
wait for.
I'm talking like even a 32 150.
Yeah.
Like that'd be a clean like even trade. But it's not even. I don't know. I don't know.
Even if you get it like right here, where price just made that top wick right, and then this candle breaks the low here and continues pushing, that's your entry.
Yeah. On a minute candle, that's wild though.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Have you done that successfully before without getting just hammered?
This I did with NFP. Let me try to pull up my Trello.
Jeez. Yes, this is what I was asking, like at the onset, like, if it does come in a lot hot, does that just validate everyone's pre-move yesterday, or is there going to be continued selling? Oh man, it came in real hot.
Yeah.
1%. Whoo! Dang. Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, that's your entry point right there. Yeah, so much higher than the forecast, so expect gold to continue pushing too. So that's your entry right there for this, Andy. Alright, gold is going to pull back. Watch it retrace all this massive sell-off that it's just doing right now. Give it a couple of minutes, and then GBP/JPY. It's just going to hang around here, but if you're really just looking for, a couple of pip scalps, let's say in the session, in the next like 15 minutes or so, once the news has already been priced in, I would say wait for price to continue breaking above this specific area here, and then look for your 10, 15 pips, 30 pips up top here. But anything in between, this is your true no trade range. Just kind of stay out of this if you can. And then what else were we looking at?
Oh man. There you go. Come on.
Andy, just don't close it out early this time. Let it play out. Just let it.
You don't want me to front run taking profit?
No, because I see your trades, the ones that you send, and I'm like,
I know.
if you had just held on to it.
Well, but that's also why I keep pretty tight stops, because this thing just moves like a freight train. So I don't want to just keep, tossing money in a fire.
No, yeah, but you're just waiting for these areas to be broken and then push, right? And as soon as that volume kicks in, just let it play out. I had another scale in Asian yesterday as we were like respecting these broken support as resistance, and it's still pushing. That one was...
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I'm still waiting on this one. I haven't hopped in just yet. 282.02. Yeah, from up top here. And then a push down. What I want to see here is a 15-30 minute close, and then create a top wick rejection and then push down. But it is also a Friday.
I don't know if that's gonna. How far do you think that's gonna retrace? I mean, I don't see any buyers coming in here to try.
It's not coming up top here for sure. But when we're just talking about like pure retracement, up to the hourly 4 hours. I want to see a retracement at least up into these areas here. Create a top wick, and it could happen in the next like 30-minute, 15-minute candle or anything like that, and then continue pushing down from there.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's kind of like that. That's kind of like that 32, 60, 32.50, maybe.
32.100 area.
32.100.
Yeah.
Nice even number.
Mm-hmm. And the way to kind of figure it out is also like, look at the areas where price has consolidated before, done something similar, and then it pushes back down, right? The next candle tends to give you a little bit of a top wick, and then a push.
Yeah.
We'll give it another like 15-20 minutes. Another 15-minute candle.
Yeah.
Those of you guys who were in gold, were you able to manage your trade?
Not taking an entry just yet.
Alright. See, now all that was previous versus forecast, and then you got a quick, as soon as the news came out, you got a quick reaction to it and then pulled right back and reacted right off that 1830.
That's got to be like people that got open orders just waiting down there.
Yep. You'd be surprised. A lot of people use like those market orders instead of market execution.
Yep. I got like a long time ago. I got whacked on an NFT day like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I got in. I was like, oh wow, price is going down. So I jumped in the trade, and then someone had some order at the bottom, and then just wham, made this massive tail. I'm like, oh well, there that goes. $32,000. Wow. Yeah, even this current 5-minute candle's struggling.
There you go. Let this one close bullish. That's what I want to see. Let this one close bullish and the next one break the low.
Right.
And that would be the entry. Gold corrected its entire thing. It's ready to push bullish.
Oh man.
This is the fun part.
Yeah, setting these new target areas.
Yeah, that, and then it's also, we can already kind of, you can start to tell after some time like how the price is going to react to certain news and everything like that. So being able to even trade simply that market sentiment, that's all this entire push down was.
Yeah.
Right? Being able to even catch that for like, what, 70 pips or so? Wow. And that's a 70 pip retracement right back up.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as this thing closes bullish, I wouldn't doubt the next candle to continue breaking the highs and then continue pushing. GJ broke the highs and the lows here on this candle. So that's why I would just kind of stay out of this if you can. Your USD also pushing right back down into that 1.053 area. A lot of amazing trades today. Everyone knows what they're looking at. Everyone feel comfortable, confident in their trades.
Just a quick question, VJ, on gold.
Yeah.
Would you say it's best to probably wait for the NYSE open now, or do you think it'd be good to wait for a 15-minute close?
I would say New York Stock Exchange, wait for that to open, unless you're just trading, again, these quick scalps, the 5-minute, 15-minute ones that we're just calling out right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to look for, something that you want to be able to run into next week, knowing you, I think that's what you want to do.
I think it'd be probably best next week.
Yeah. So knowing you, I feel like you want to catch something that you can hold on to going into next week. I would just wait.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, someone who just wants a scalp, these are the perfect moves that are happening right now.
Yeah, definitely. That was a perfect scalp on the 5-minute.
5-minute, also 15-minute.
Mm-hmm.
That's all liquidity grab. How do you know it's liquidity grab? Look at the bullish volume that's happening right now.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Alright, we got about 2 minutes for this 15-minute candle close.
You got a nice little 5-minute wick rejection happening.
Mm-hmm. It's all good. We'll just let the market do what it wants to do. There's a ton of opportunities. It's all good. Does anyone have any questions about anything that we went over today? Or even about any of these trades? You guys know what you're looking at?
I know what I'm looking for.
Alright, there you go.
Yeah, I know what I'm looking for.
Perfect.
Yeah. I hope so this continues.
Alright, got about a minute left for this 15 close. For all these pairs.
Gosh, it almost did like a perfect 50% retrace on that move, and it's coming back up again. It was like it's almost exactly 50%. That's crazy.
Yep.
Wow.
Alright, at this point, pretty much we should be done using the 5-minute time frame. The news has already come out, 15 minutes about to close here. Now you start using the 15-minute time frames going into the New York Stock Exchange Open. And then 30 minutes into the Stock Exchange Open, hop up to the 30-minute time frame for the rest of the session and kind of use that.
Hmm. So is that kind of just your normal rule set? Like anything that's low volume pre-market, you can dip down to 15, but you don't dip down to 15 in session?
So for the 5-minute and 15-minute time frames, it's as soon as the market opens up. When there's CPI coming out, when there's interest rates coming out, when there's NFP coming out, or when there's PCE coming out. So anything that's really high impact or Powell speaking.
Red folder stuff.
Yeah, that. The 5-minute, 15-minute. And then as soon as the market is done kind of reacting to that, it's already been priced in, which is usually the 15-minute, 30-minute time frames. After that, then you start to push back up to the 30-minute time frame, the hourly time frame, the 4-hour, the daily.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, okay, I got you. So it's more weight, the weight of the news, not just session time frame. Well, or and session time frame, I should say.
Yeah, as you get closer to the middle of the session, that's when you start to kind of jump back up to the 30-minute, 1 hour. That's when the volume starts to die down a little bit.
Yeah. Wow, there was even a massive yield spike in the 10-year yield on the bond market. It is wild. Wow. Huh. That's cool.
So there's another question. Just want to know about the profit calculations. I mean, after gaining 530 points on a 10-cent lot, total profit should be $530, but it's showing 5,300 USD on your recent trade. I've had, for the same amount of points, for the same amount of lots, or even lower lots, I've had varying results depending on what I'm trading. For example, GJ, I've had 500, 600 pip trades, but I don't get anywhere close to the 5,300 or anything like that, like a 5 cent or 10 cent. That's usually lower than that. For US 30 for gold, I get around 5,300. For crypto, it's even higher profits than that. So for me, with the broker that I'm using, both of the brokers actually, it depends on the asset that I'm trading. That's what my experience has been like. Alright, gold is also pushing.
Oh, here we go. 31,950. I don't think it's gonna. I don't know if it's gonna hold or not. I don't think it's gonna hold.
Still making a top wick and just continued sells, right?
Yep.
And then when you drop down to the 5 minute, you push back up, you got that nice retracement, and then a push back down. There's really nothing, when you're looking at higher time frames, nothing stopping us from sells continuing down.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's already carving through 4-hour stuff. I mean, I can see it making a pit stop at 31,900, but I mean,
I would say more like around like this 100 or 31,500 area.
Yeah, that's a larger. Yeah, because that was a flip of strength and resistance area.
Yeah. Again, like I said, with my brokers, that's how I get it. I mean, with different brokers, you probably get different results, but I don't know, like for you guys too who are trading US 30, Andy, I know that you're one of the guys who trades US 30 too. I don't know, like if you get the same exact results or not according to your broker.
My leverage is the same as yours, yes. So yeah, so on a 10-cent lot, it would show the same profit, yes.
There you go. So when I was answering your question, I was saying that for different assets, whether I'm trading crypto, US 30, gold, currencies, it gives me different results depending on those assets. So I understand the story is showing clearly 5,300 because that is US 30. Like I said, those are the results that I get based on that asset. So I hope that answers your question. Alright, so we are pushing down. We'll wait for about 10 more minutes. But does anyone have any questions about anything else? You guys feel good for the rest of the session?
Yes, we're good.
Alright, perfect.
Ready for this continuation.
So make sure the key thing is manage your risk before you guys end off the session today. You're pretty much done for the week. If you're trying to hold on to something over the weekend, make sure that you're in good enough profits where you can handle the swap fees, the commissions, and all that stuff, depending on how your broker does it. So for me, it will give me a swap fee for holding on to it like every day. Some people do it like some brokers. I believe Owanda does like every week or something like that. So just take all those things into consideration and manage your risk according to that. Alright, perfect. Let's wait for this.
Look at that daily VJ right here at 31,900. Because it's got these daily, it's got some daily, those daily tails right there. Now to your right a little bit more. To your right.
Right
yeah,
here.
those two right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that on that particular week. That was significant rejection to the downside. But I mean, it's already been so heavily contested this week. I don't know if they're going to hold.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens here at 31,900. It might take New York Open to break through that.
I think so. I think even with New York Open, we could get some pullbacks and then a continued push, like top wick rejections.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because that's going to be the new 4-hour candle.
Yeah. Or not. There you go. It's testing.
Because it's quite similar to, if you look at the previous candles, a lot of volume.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty big move.
Yep. And then, especially with this 30-minute not even having a top wick, and it's still pushing down, right?
Yeah.
This is like the London Open, and then after that we kind of stalled out.
Yeah.
Where'd you place your stop loss?
What's that?
Where'd you place your stop loss?
I had it at 32, 125, just because I knew it was going to come back. I knew I was expecting about a 50% retrace.
Yeah.
I was estimating it would be that, but it looks on the lower time frames, volume is really starting to slow.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. It's interesting. The mornings we get up really early like this. I'm watching price. It's almost like the pause is beneficial because once that volume comes in at 6:30, it's wild.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if this is gonna have enough to carve through all that. And I don't know.
I don't think like a push back into this area for sure. So I think that 125 is still safe, what you have.
Yeah.
Alright, we got about 5 minutes left here.
If this thing comes back to 32, I don't know, 3,200 seems far away now, but if it comes back to 32,000.
Yeah.
And it rejects that, then there's going to be a ton. That's the thing. I'm pondering, right? If this thing does somehow come back to 32,000 in the next 35 minutes, that's going to be an amazing selling point.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's too far-fetched, though, coming back into this area. Just printing, like, those lower highs and then continue pushing up.
Yeah, because I almost expect, again, because of the size of the positions, I almost expect it to wash people out from there. They have because they know they got their stop loss, right there, right above it. So they're going to come. I mean, I know they can go up there, grab that, and then just continue going there. So
yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if they did it.
I think we just have really good volume setting up for next week. I think even going into next week, we'll probably consolidate out or like slow down for Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday interest rates come out, and then we'll see the volume kicking in again.
Yeah.
VJ, if you could just take a look at gold quickly.
Yes.
Just a little confused. Looking at the 4 hour,
Yeah.
we're still holding that break and retest sort of formation. Left a massive wick to the downside. My thinking at this point is we're back in that sort of messy area.
Yeah.
Would it probably be best to just wait for next week, like you said?
Just wait for next week, or if you really want to narrow it in, then like all this area right here, this is your true no trade range. Yeah. So wait for, like, in the 3 minutes, is the 4 hour really going to flip here? I doubt it, right? But if the next candle pushes back up, then you look for that volume where you get that bottom wick rejection, and then price pushes up. Then you drop down to the hourly 30 minute, and you look for some form of break and retest, and then look for your scalps.
Okay, cool.
And there you go, and then even on the hourly, breaking the highs and the lows. Yeah, I use the same setups for all of them. I trade gold, yeah. So see, that's another difference right there, where it's on someone's server, gold is bullish, but for mine, because I use Owanda, you know, it's showing me bearish. But if you use like FXCM, does anyone have FXCM? Someone using that? Then it's probably bullish on there too. I know FXCM and Owanda charts have a little different. So sometimes when we're doing the trade breakdowns, for example, Stefano's and I, like, you'll see a gap that's happening on his chart, but I don't tend to see it on mine. Or I'll see it on mine, but you won't see it on his because he uses FXCM. I just check the news. I don't look at the bonds or the options or anything like that. Or I'll look at the indices. Alright, we're getting a straight sell-off. Alright, cool. So we have about a minute left. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, let me know before we hop off. Other than that, we will be back next week. So Monday is going to be the weekly outlook, and then we'll try to do the Wednesday live session too. Alright, no more questions?
All good from me.
Alright, cool. Yeah, so for the rest of the session, we kind of just went through like where the no trade range and all of that. So make sure you guys are, you know, staying out of any areas that you have seen price react heavily into previously. But if you guys have any questions, just feel free to reach out, and I'd be more than happy to help. But stay safe for the rest of the session, so make sure you're not turning, you know, winning trade into a losing trade. Or if you're up for the month, then making sure that you're kind of still saving that. So don't, you know, take extra trades today because it's the end of the week. Anyways, it's the last session of the week anyways. So don't end up taking like extra trades that you know you shouldn't, that are going to mess up with your equity growth. But with that being said, I will see you guys next week for the weekly outlook and then the Wednesday live sessions. And yeah, have a good one, everyone.
You too.